So this is a video for a quick step exercises. I'm going to start with a progressive step, moving forward. So the progressive step will have the lock in action. So I'm going to start with the right foot, heel lead first, get the other foot, soft rise, lock from behind, release toe to flat. Repeat, heel lead, soft rise, lock from behind, toe flat. From a different angle, feet are together, we brush the feet, we push them to the floor, heel lead first, soft rise, lock from behind, toe flat. Heel lead, soft rise, and a toe flat. When you're dancing in the 3 steps that I've just shown, the first step, the heel lead of yours, do your very best to exaggerate, to make it bigger. After you lock, be consistent with the weight change of yours. Do it quick enough so you're able to extend the landing foot. What happens sometimes from a locking action, people tend to drop. If you would like to have a continuation, which I think you do, you don't want to drop, you would like to continue traveling with the next piece of choreography of yours. So thinking about a quick step in general, I don't think a quick step should have anything particular, too small or very compact and all this stuff. There's actually a good amount of space that you should be able to fulfill versus a drop and then a big step, a drop and then a big step. You should never force the forward step. So from a locking action, when you're about to take a step, you can control it and just make sure that you're taking a step that feels comfortable for your structure. So when I'm taking a step forward with whichever foot depending on the locking action, I'm making sure it feels comfortable for me, and then I can move to the next piece of routine. Now, a good idea would be to have at least 3 or 4 of those locking actions one after other. So basically what we do is we do slow, quick, quick, slow, quick, quick. It's going to help you increase the control, the proper footwork. You understand better how much you can move between the lock steps. Using a sidebar of some sort, just sort of hold yourself while practicing the step is a great idea, or just the wall, you know, in your house, perhaps a countertop. Yeah, and just switch sides, so you can start with the left foot, then once you lock and you release, obviously the right foot is ready to move. On the way back, the step does not work any different. What you need to be very aware of is your balance distribution, because when you're taking a step back, the tendency is for people to push with their head towards the spine and drop the foot too early. But instead, what we're trying to achieve, and I'll demonstrate the step, the whole step in a minute, is actually a much bigger step, so to speak. In order for you to do that, you want to make sure that your body is vertical and the weight change of yours happens clearly. Because if the weight change is sort of unclear, it's sort of faking my explanation, if the weight change is not clear enough for yourself, it will be very difficult to create proper amount of space on the step number 3. So if I move backwards, I'll start with the left foot. I will go step, of course toe to flat. I will roll, get on the foot, soft rising and a locking action. And now with the left foot of mine, I will make make sure that I can push through the right foot and create certain amount of space before I land myself with a soft landing. So when you're landing backwards, one of the ways to see if you're increasing the awareness, the level of dancing, is how you're landing backwards, because every time that you feel that your landing is just a drop, that means that you're still in a very much a working process and you need to improve it significantly. Every landing of yours should be very soft, very calm, very contained, in order for you to be able to dance the next step with a proper action. When we create a drop, we are putting stress on the body to a degree, so we're trying to avoid that. So if I do 3 or 4 movements backwards, obviously I will start, if I have the left foot in front, I'll obviously brush. When doing so, I'll pull through the heel with my knee to step backwards. From here, I will create a soft rising action. Here is where the lock happens, and then in the end, I'll obviously exit to a toe to flat. Immediately, I'll convert the right by peeling the toe off the floor, pulling through the heel, brushing my feet, and of course, commencing the first rising action. Once I shift the center, I can start shifting the toe, and then in the end, of course, I will create the proper weight change and a soft landing on the way down. So this is kind of what you can do for the forward and backwards exercise. I once again advise anyone working on foundational work, so-called basics, to have a certain type of support, wall, sidebar, anything that basically would simplify our work, because while you're so focused on the lower part, I don't want the upper part to affect you. In order for you to improve the upper part, obviously the awareness of the center, sternum, where the head goes. Frankly, when you're working strictly on your feet, I don't see an issue if your head is basically simply pointed sort of straight forward. Your eye level does need to be a little bit elevated with the chin above water, so to speak. And then if you would like to take it to the next level, your head will probably have to be turned slightly to the left. But it's not a must, since the work focuses in a different place. If all of this starts feeling somewhat more comfortable, ideally you elevate the arms and basically you'll make sure you're in a frame. You cannot do that if you're of course supporting yourself by holding for the wall or anything else. The next thing that you can do, once again for a quick step, would be practicing your chassés. So basically chassé in a lock step, especially going between the first 2 levels of dance, which would be the bronze and the silver, are steps that you will basically encounter sort of throughout. Common mistakes that we see in the chassé actions, we do see that people are literally missing the chassé sometimes, or not closing precisely, or missing the rising action and so forth, or dropping too early. There are basically a bunch of stuff that are sometimes happening not in the way that they should. And I think one of the reasons for that is because people do not spend enough time working on an individual figure, foundational figure, and instead there's a constant rush to just move. So if I'm dancing sideways, so once again I will just sort of relax my arms, would be the first option. Second option, if I'm not holding myself for anything, right, I'll basically just go into somewhat imitating a normal frame. So if I go to the right, the first thing that I need to do is a gentle softening to my knees. What I'll do is I'll create the swing, which you should have in the first place. I'll create a soft rise, we'll close the feet, and then the right foot will be free to basically exit. Now, if you're exiting your chassés, typically the exit happens slightly back in the diagonal. It's not a back step, it's not a side step, it's typically back in the diagonal with a soft rising action. Soft lowering action, meant to say. You don't want to step straight back if you're exiting. So if you're in motion and if you're dancing obviously quicker, you want to have slow, quick. As soon as you you're literally chopping the progression of yours. So that's why I'm emphasizing from a chassis, you must go slightly diagonal. That's very important. If you would like to practice a continuation of just chassis, and if you're not focusing on the exiting of yours, you can always go step, soft, closing, lowering. Step, soft, closing, lowering. Step, soft, close, lowering. When you're closing your feet in the chassis, the feet ideally will close precisely as much as possible. We do not have feet turned out as we'll do so in the cha-cha walk step, for example. The rises itself needs to happen to the ankles, not to the knees, because if you lock your knees when you are trying to dance the swingy dance, it's just the swing will be killed immediately. If you're going to the left, your action moves the very same way. So left is not that commonly seen with female dancers dancing the chassis, but obviously it's something that you encounter. So when you're going to the left, you will once again have to follow the same structure with obviously the soft rise, the feet together, and then if you're exiting, once again, I'm talking about the diagonal and the soft landing. You can see that even with the diagonal step of mine, the step that basically exits the movement, I'm still thinking of space. None of my steps are small whatsoever. If you have locking action, obviously it should be compact. When you have chassis, of course your feet should be together. I'm referring to a traveling steps. They should create space. If you get to feel very comfortable dancing the chassis left or right, you can always get into the frame idea and then move with the frame, holding it and not fluctuating it. When you're dancing both progressive movements and the side actions, you would like to have normal posture, not softening left or right, definitely not dipping forward or backwards. Ideally, the center stays somewhat vertical, and frankly, when you connect with your partner, this has nothing to do with shaping or anything else. Ideally, you soften through the knee and you're staying somewhat vertical. The elevation and the martini glass is being achieved by picking up the center and the striatum area. Never ever bend to the lower back, which is something that you should know after the first 2 lessons with me. Making sure that this is what you have. Never forward, of course, obviously, and never too backward.